Hey everybody, Swamp Cleaner here, back with another video for you. Today we've got ourselves a full panel. We've got ourselves Random Ransom, Vermicious Kid, Ramblin' Man. How are you guys all doing today?
Good. How you guys
Do
doing?
well.
Doing all right.
All right, that's pretty much all that you can hope for nowadays because things are getting crazy out there. Whether it's between online safety, actually thinking about the kids, or is it really just about censorship? Uh, Embarrassing tea being spilled all over the place, and somebody who has some really good genes. And on top of all that, you have to deal with earthquakes and tsunamis. So, first off, we'll get that out of the way. Hopefully, everybody here, I'm sure everybody was, you're not in the affected area because I know you, Vermicious here, Louisiana, Rambling here in Tennessee. Random, where are you at?
I'm in the Quarteringville, so it's up in
Okay, so
Wisconsin.
yeah, we were all very far away from that, but I do hope that everybody who, if they were affected by the earthquake and the tsunami, that they weren't too badly affected. I hope everybody is okay. And because an 8.8 earthquake and a tsunami isn't something that happens all the time.
No.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that it was like somebody was saying it was top 3 biggest recorded earthquakes.
Top 10. It was like number 9.
Okay, yeah. It was like a huge deal is what people were saying.
Yeah, and luckily it didn't come over to the States very much. Unfortunately, since it was closer to Russia, Russia got a little bit more of the brunt of it. But yeah.
Yeah, if anybody is on Twitter, you can find there's a crazy video of a surgery happening, and just as they were pretty much working inside the guy's body, the entire room started shaking. This was happening in Russia. It was crazy, harrowing video. So if anybody has a chance, go check that out on Twitter. I'm sure you'll find it anywhere. But today, let's start off with some very, very nice genes. Let me just screen share this. All right, come on. Whoops, what's going on here? Well, that's a great way to start it. But anyway, we'll start talking about it. Sydney Sweeney. She has an ad campaign with American Eagle, and I think it's actually very clever based off the double entendre that they did. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't have any problems with it. I understand people are upset. Like, I guess they haven't seen these kinds of ads for 20 years, so people don't really know how to react. What are people mad about it for exactly?
Because she's attractive and they're not.
Is that what it is? Is that all it is?
Yeah.
I think part of it is, yeah.
I saw people calling her a Nazi for the ad. Like, what?
Oh, was that was because of the use of the word genes, I think, because genetics,
okay.
and the German thing. Yeah, I was like, oh, come on. Because she has blue eyes.
I don't think that's how they meant that.
No, well, of course not. I mean, here's the silly thing. Like this is I'm gonna bring out the R word. This is retarded 5th grader joke based attacks type stuff. Like the old joke. I'm sure all of us have heard this. It's like, oh, why is diarrhea hereditary? Because it runs in the genes. That whole thing. Like this is basically kind of hitting on what they were what they were actually trying to do with the ad, but I think it's also kind of hitting where people are going wrong with it, where it's like, okay, they're concentrating on certain parts of her genetics when it's like, no, they're not talking about her having blonde hair, blue eyes, and white skin. It's that she's pretty.
Yeah.
That's why she has nice genes in terms of the G, E, N, E.
And 10 to 15 years ago, this was just normal. That's just advertising because typically everyone, no matter who you are, likes a pretty lady.
Exactly.
It's just human nature to do that. And of course, it's also human nature to be jealous as well. And I guess there's a lot of people who, have that in an unbridled sense.
And unfortunately, what we're seeing here is pretty much the end result of the amount of cultural brainwashing people have received for the better part of 2 decades when it comes to perceiving Western culture or white people or anything like that. There's this undertone, this monotonous undertone that has just been drumming about, ooh, well, Nazis and conservatism or certain people. And it's kind of like it becomes this knee jerk. Well, it must be. Look at this. Look at this. We've got this girl. She's got blonde hair, blue eyes, talking about jeans. So to them, that's a checklist. So in their mind, because all they're seeing is like Nazis behind every bush, they're hearing pretty much these dog whistles that they're the only ones that are hearing, and they have to just say, "This is not what our culture and society is about. We must attack this." And it, to them, that seems perfectly normal and logical, but to the average person, it just makes them look crazy.
And you know, I think that all of that, like that, is an exploitation of human nature. In that, you know, you see something that you see a person that you'd want to be like, or they have something you don't have, or you don't currently have. So there's jealousy there, and when that happens in someone's brain, you can either think, well, I'm going to work towards that because that's what I want to do, or that's what I want to be, or you know, they bait you with that with the bait of, you know, you don't have that because they won't let you.
Plus, it's like intellectually lazy because
It is.
it's like, oh, this is something I don't like, so I'm just going to throw a pejorative at it, and hopefully everybody shuts up. I'm just like, that doesn't work anymore. It's
Well,
not
it also leads
2015. It's not 2016 anymore.
exactly, but and I think that the if you kind of drag it out to its conclusion of why that's done, or how it's used, is that, you know, a group or an organization or the government will come in and say, hey, they won't let you have that, but we'll make sure that you do. You just got to vote for us.
See, I like this. I like this meme because I was scrolling through trying to find this because it was I think it was Paul Joseph Watson was making a video, and I saw this meme and was just like, that's hilarious, because if this is what fascism is, then okay. If that's how it's going to be prescribed, then I guess I'm a fascist. So you got to just, the only way you defeat these people is by leaning into their fears, because it'll just break their brain, and then hopefully they will just, you know, go into a corner somewhere and leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah, well, God forbid a company called American Eagle puts an all-American girl on their ad. You know, like I don't know. It just I think most normal people are starting to wake up to the craziness of this sort of like fringe ideology, and so um I I don't think people care. That's why you got like Colbert being canceled and things like that. And I think there's gonna be more of those, like a late night host to follow. Think Tim Pool
And
and
those are
Hillary
just
did.
money things, I believe. I think that's just a financial
Yeah.
situation. And when he's not canceled, it's just no one wants to toss money into a fire.
But that's why Colbert and co have to make it political, because that's the only thing they have left, because that's the only thing they live in, that's the only thing they see. So they pick up these random pieces. Let's say this: you have like a toy car. It's like it's in three pieces, and then they try to jam it together and make it into an airplane. I was like, that's not how it works.
I think most of those people like Colbert. If you watch some of the very progressive shows, and I do sometimes, like Hackman or Sam Cedar and stuff like that, they're not stupid people. They're very intelligent people, and I don't actually believe that they believe what they're saying.
No,
It's
they're
just a way to get
disingenuous.
clicks.
They're
Yeah,
disingenuous all to hell.
it's a way to get clicks. I'm sure they're liberal, but I don't think they believe most of the things they're saying. Like Saint Ganana, they're clearly not stupid people, but they say illogical and untruthful things a lot of the time, because people give them money.
Yeah, I mean, and Colbert is known to play a character, right? Like back in the day, he was on the Colbert Report, where he was literally playing a character of a stereotypical like conservative,
Mhm.
um, like way over the top, right? Like he would interview people, I think about George Bush, and he would be like, George Bush, great president or greatest president, you know what I mean? And people will be like, oh, none of those things, right?
Well, he
But
wanted to create like he wanted to, and see, and at that point, I think it was just more of a genuine attempt to be like to poke fun. But now I think things have morphed into where he tries to create straw man punching bags, so then everybody can attack and then feel better about things.
yeah, propaganda, like with the whole can we say it? Can we say the word? I don't know. I want to ask you. It's your channel.
Oh, which word?
The
Oh, no,
V word.
I think it's safe. We can do that on YouTube now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been talking about it. Yeah,
Like the whole vaccine thing he did, right? Like
that dance thing. Oh yeah, I call that
People
a cringe. The
yeah.
cringes.
people didn't like that.
I mean, what happened? Like, I love the time when Jimmy Kimmel was in blackface. Malone says he likes himself some some stuff. Like, what was that skit where he was the black basketball player?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That was
yeah,
what that
wow,
was like
yeah.
20 years ago, wasn't it?
I know, it's
Yeah,
like,
was that
what's the
during the
problem?
Man Show?
Yeah, I
think
think it
so,
was,
yeah.
wasn't it?
It was his Man Show.
But let me ask y'all a question. I watched. I love good comedy, particularly sketch comedy, and I watched some of Colbert and stuff like that. I don't find it funny, and I will laugh my butt off at a good Trump joke or whatever. Like if it's funny, it's funny. I don't find any of what they say funny.
I mean, I haven't found him funny since he's been on what is it, late night or whatever. I used to actually think he was funny on back in the day on Comedy Central. But I've
Well, now
changed since then.
they just beat a dead horse because they're on the wrong
Yeah.
side of what's culturally punk. So,
And I think
Yeah,
it's so much propaganda that I think that's the goal. The funny is secondary.
Yeah.
So I think that ends up it's like SNL now, or oftentimes where I think the message is the goal, and then the funny is a secondary thing.
and
Well, yeah.
and I think that's and we're shifting away from all of this like knee jerk like reactionary moral haranguing, because you have companies like American Eagle who are leaning into, because what's the one, because there are several different ad spots for it, but there's the one where it's like it's a scrolling upper body and she's talking about how she's literally talking about genetic markers and stuff like that, and it's just an entendre. That's all it is. It's a perfect marketing campaign. The only thing that American Eagle could do to make it even better and go over the top is if they switch their logo from the American Eagle to the German Reichswehr Eagle, where it's just like
Based. I'm joking. And look, that is, I know, I don't know how old everyone is, but I've grew up in the 80s, and this is the first time I can remember that culture has not only not trended more liberal, it's actually gone the other way. So in a solid 50 years, this is the first time I can recall it coming back. So I think it's extremely important, because I can tell you right now, in the 80s and probably even some of the 70s, that whole here's some stuff we're going to do and be quiet about it started. The original the Enforcer, the dirty, it was a Dirty Harry movie. Was in the late 70s, I think 77. That was about a cop, the Enforcer, Clint Eastwood, being forced to ride or being forced to have a female partner because the department was introducing more female officers. That's the plot of that movie. Now it was like in San Francisco or somewhere in California, but we're talking late 70s. Those types of pushes began.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all been churning for a long time. This like the long march through the industry, or long march through academia. It took a while, but the fruits of their labor have been showing for the past decade, and I'm glad that the pendulum is now finally swinging away from that. And ad campaigns like this are a sign that there's hope for the future.
Well, and one of the neat things I think that has kind of become more evident in all of this is that because things have started to swing back in the other direction off of the pendulum, things swung so far in toward the left, and now they're swinging back. The interesting thing is seeing how it's going back to not the extreme people. It's going more toward the people in the center. And the way that you can tell that the people who are on the far left understand this is because of one of the things that you have up on that meme. It's in trying to bring up an insult of, oh, well, you're a fascist if you like this. It's the essentially the last bastion of someone who knows that they're wrong or losing a debate is to start name calling.
Yeah.
And
look at the person who's screaming, "You're a fascist." So
well, that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
weird,
I
yeah.
think that contributes. But I was speaking of olden days stuff, as Vermicious Knit was bringing up. I was recently listening to an old timey podcast, or what they call radio shows in the olden days, where there were two people talking about something that's somewhat related to this, not exactly, but they were talking about homosexuality in the Bible, and a guy named Dr. Bonson was talking to a guy named Paul Johnson, and the moment that Paul Johnson, who was pushing a little bit more toward the acceptance of homosexual lifestyles, started to hear Dr. Bonson make good points, he immediately switched into, and this, mind you, this is before they had terms like homophobia. He immediately switched into calling him names. He's like, "Well, where's your white sheet?" Calling him essentially like
decade was
KKK.
this from?
I'm not 100% sure. It might have been like I'm thinking like 80s ish.
Okay.
Might have been before that. I'm not 100% sure on that, unfortunately. But regardless, it's the moment that that Dr. Bonson was addressing his points and then bringing up his own, and he felt like, I could tell he felt like he was starting to lose his position. He just started calling him names. He started suggesting that he's from the KKK, that he wants to line up the gay people and shoot them. Put them in front of a firing squad, things like that. It's like it was just really interesting seeing something from so long ago having the exact same kind of tactics, but back then I'd assume it wasn't as widespread. Now that seems to be the tactic of the majority of the people on the left. They're like, oh, well, there's a fascist under every rock. If you like pretty people, if you're looking at an ad campaign, and I mean, ad campaigns are meant to put something in front of you and imagine yourself looking like the pretty person. I want to be like the person in the ad. I want to get those clothing. That's what they're meant for. But
that's just like the video game thing, right? No one seems to buy the very woke games because everyone wants to play the big strong guy or the very pretty lady, because
exactly
that's what you wish to be. You wish to be the extraordinary thing. You don't want to like play yourself in the video game. What's the point of that?
and then you have these other people there. They're pretty much on the outside looking in, and they're frustrated because in their minds, either they physically can't, or they're unable to, or they don't want to try to strive and achieve for those goals. So instead of trying to better themselves, they attack and try to rip other people down to their level.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have some very deep and long-standing social changes that cause a lot of that. A lot of it has to do with morality, religious belief, and things of that nature. And of course, you have like the Marxists making all those dividing lines and telling people, well, you have to come to us for, to get a fair shake. So
I'd also like to add that, like back in the day, when this stuff was so successful, the entire media apparatus was forcing this propaganda down people's throats. And you had your friends and your neighbors and stuff, sure, but there weren't a million people with YouTube channels out there making content to compete with that narrative and tell you, hey guys, this isn't what's going on. Like, nowadays people are watching those guys more than they're watching the big media.
And now you know why they want to censor the internet.
Because when it comes to the proliferation of being able to get your voice or opinion out there's pros and cons to it. A lot more can be done in the discourse to create more concise ideas or better arguments, but then it also causes kind of like this amplification. Yeah, amplification. Thank you. And then also it causes a lot of talking past each other, because there are factions that start getting set up that pretty much isolate themselves into echo chambers and bubbles, and then when the bubbles touch it and they're arguing against each other, there's a lot of just ships in the night and a lot of miscommunication, and then that's where a lot of anger and resentment grows.
One of Tim Pool's recent shows, they made somebody said an example about something like that, where if you were a guy who was growing up and you found toasters attractive, and you mentioned that to your father, he'd tell you, "Shut up, you're being weird." But now you can go online and find all the other people who find toasters attractive, and now your community, and now loving toasters is a human right.
Well, a very good example of that is look at the furries. Look at the furry community.
The same thing, right? Yeah.
You have literally people. I mean, not even 10 years. Well, probably 10 years ago. If you walk into a Walmart wearing a fox head and tail on, people are gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, you're freaking out my kid. Get out of here." And now it's just like, no, they have to be accepted, and everybody has to make space for that and allow that to happen. Now, that's not the most nefarious thing ever, like dressing up like a creature to go outside. But then when you get into the territory of like, well, no, it's okay that two gay men can surrogate a child, and then even if one has like a criminal record for child abuse, I'm just like,
that story. Oh my gosh, I saw the Quartering talking about that.
Yeah, and look, Jeez. So I have a daughter, so I have severe feelings about such things, and to what you were saying
originally, that's in PA too. So I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's not the first case of that. They've had a couple of others of those recently as well. And some of them very, very bad. But I think the whole problem ultimately is moral relativism, because if morality is a standard, and if it's relative, it's not a standard, so it doesn't exist, and then you can just anything goes. But that stuff with children, man, I would the thing that frustrates me about that is people allow it. That's why it happens, because it's allowed, right? 50, 30, 40, 50 years ago, if somebody did something like that, or anything with a child or anything in that case, a group of dads shows up at your house and tell you they're going to help you pack.
Yeah.
And I know of actual stories of that that happened, 80s and stuff like that, where, someone's told, we're going to help you leave, and you're going to leave right now, and you're not going to come back.
See, and that's why I think we'll end this topic here, but I'm just going to say that that's why I believe that there is hope for the future, because if we're getting more traditional ad campaigns like this, maybe, and if that's starting to scratch the surface of the cultural pendulum swinging, we'll get to a point where we'll be back at that point where you're packing and you're leaving right now. We'll get back there.
I think this is a very positive swing in general for society, of our society, right?
All right. Now, you mentioned Tim Pool earlier, so we're going to just slide over to the next topic, and it's going to be about the tea being spilled all over the place. And I do like this new app that Tim Pool is suggesting we all go download.
Because I remember them saying that, yeah.
Because it would be very useful to know if the girl I'm dating is a whore or not.
True that.
What do you guys think about what's your opinion about the hypocrisy over the tea app?
Hey man, if they can have an app where they dox people, like it can go both ways, I guess.
All it is a regular ladies gossip circle, but just on the internet, so it's like a gajillion people, which in itself is a problem, right? And I don't know what you do about that beyond have people with morality who don't do that.
Well, here's the issue, and I think you're hitting on something, Pernicious, that I think that this is something that's always been around. It's little groups of women would get together and talk about, oh, this guy treated me wrong, in this way, and stay away from him. He's a lady, he's a womanizer, and blah blah blah. All that's been happening for a very long time. That's on a very small scale, though. It's a micro scale. Now, with the internet and everything available all the time, now it's become macro scale. I don't think people are things have happened so quickly, and I'm not even talking about like AI stuff. This is just, little apps like this, having everyone know what's the in thing to do all across the nation or all around the world. I don't think people are ready for that. They don't have ways of coping with that type of thing. So when this type of stuff happens, I don't think it's something that I don't think people can wrap their minds around and deal with. And so I don't know. And what I'll say is I will say I agree with you guys to a certain degree that kind of turnabout is fair play. It's like if you're doxing other people, you better be able to, or be willing to die on that, die with that sword, that you're wielding. But I'll say it's never fun for anybody to be doxed. So I'd say that there's people being wronged on both sides of this. So.
See, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with women having gossip groups. There's nothing wrong with women getting together, chatting about the bad experience they had with some dude, and it's like, oh, he lives in town. It's like maybe you should avoid him or something. That's all fine, even if it's done online. But like, I think the reason why people are really in a tizzy about this is because of how nefarious and how intrusive this app was into the lives of men. Because for example, like if there's like an in real life gossip network of women, and like the man is literally in the same geographical region, and there's a chance that you'll be actually like running into these people in town, and you'll have a chance to actually address some of the issues that are coming up. Because like the app like this, it bars men from being on it. Like it's a close-knit thing. Women can continually monitor what the men are doing. It was so intrusive. I saw at some points that the profiles, the women will keep track on if he's lost his job or if he's got a new job or what he's up to, or like, and it's to the point where it's like it's stalking almost. And I'm just like, it was way too far.
Yeah, that's the macro scale that I'm talking about, where it's like it's way too much all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've
actually. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I've actually been stalked, and it's not very fun. I'll just say that. Hey, ladies, look me up on the app. I want to see what my rating might be. Let's up those numbers. So yeah, I mean, it's just the whole thing's a nightmare. I actually looked into the history of this a little bit, and these kinds of things actually go back to I saw somebody made a video on it, go back to like 2008 with a website called don'tdateemgirl.com, which was sued into oblivion after like a year. But at least on that website, the men could go on there and like actually like comment and
like,
there would be
defend themselves.
Yeah. Or at least know that their lives are being destroyed, or like, I mean, you could have job interviews with these people. It's just, the whole thing is just super illegal. I mean, hey, make your decisions, do what you want to do, but actions have consequences. And we know some people don't deal with accountability too well.
Plus, the reason why like apps like this can proliferate is because I believe that there's just a complete lack of people understanding social common sense. Like, for example, if a woman, if a guy and a girl are dating and then they break up, and the guy initiates the breakup, and of course, context matters. Like every single thing is different, but what's the common sense is she'll feel, for the most part, depending on how it breaks up, she'll feel scorned. And if she feels like hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned, they'll go scorched earth on you, and any little minute issue or problem that came up during the relationship, they will blow that up into like a monster under the bed. And I think it was Jeremy was talking about this just yesterday on the podcast, where it's just like, if like somebody was in a breakup, like and you find out that you're talking to the person that was broken up with, and they're saying all these bad things, you take that with a massive pinch of salt, because the assumption is they're probably blowing something out of proportion. So, and then usually if you go to the other person, it's like, yeah, that's not true, that didn't happen. It's like, okay, I'm going to believe you. I mean, it's just the lack of understanding. And that's why that to me is common sense. And a lot of people lack that nowadays, especially when it comes to dating and relationships.
I think it probably has an amplify effect, right? Because it's like the toaster that the being attracted to toasters thing. You're able to find a community of people who are also willing to dox people they don't like, and then because there is such a community of people, it drags other people to it, and they're willing to take it further because there's this group of people who are fine with it. So I think it just kind of spirals out of control.
Yeah, it's more that macro micro scale again, where it's like, okay, well, if I was just like you're saying, that one guy, and I might have known of, but one other guy in town who also likes toasters, well, we're just the weird guys. But if you got a community of people that's, oh well, we've got hundreds of people across the world who all love toasters. It's like, yeah, it's again, I don't think that humanity has gotten the tools to deal with this influx of all this information yet.
I don't think it ever will, where people are just not built for that. And I think the internet in general, with that type of situation where like, hey, now you're getting this info from all these other places, causes this horrible effect where you're like, just think of now, here in just the US, you have people fighting in the streets about Israel versus Palestine, but they ignore their own backyard. And that's the one that affects them.
And it's all because the internet's telling them that this is the topic to be talking about and fighting about.
Exactly. It's something they'll never even see. They don't understand. They're just, fighting for it because they're led to do that. And, their own town suffers. And that's what actually affects the stuff around you is what affects you.
And I believe that because there's all this proliferation of everybody online, everybody can talk to each other in real time. Like a lot of system or infrastructure, like whenever it's being thought up or built, there's a certain intent or reason behind it being built, or there needs to, or the people creating it have a certain vision of how it should be used. And most of the time when something gets rolled out, the main intent behind it gets lost a lot of times, whether it be done naturally or through nefarious means. Like, for example, the app here, the T app was supposed to be for women to cross-reference. To be safe. If like the guy that you're dating is like a little bit rapey or something, you'd probably want to know about that. But then it devolves into, well, I mean, he ghosted me, so he's like an asshole. And then it's like, oh yeah, I heard that. And then they'll just it's kind of like playing a game of telephone. And at the end of it, it's like you're saying something completely different than what was started.
Yeah. I think speaking of Beanie Man, I think he made a good point on this actually too. I think it was him that made this point where he was saying that like if the natural progression of the app basically is you're just going to see guys on there with bad ratings because girls aren't going to put guys on there with good ratings because they're not going to want other girls to know about those guys, right? They're going to try to bag those guys. And if he's a good guy and they lose them, they're going to be really sour about it, right? And try to like say a bunch of bad stuff.
Well, they want to then scorn him and screw up any future relationships that he could have because they've been slighted for some reason.
And how many people or women do you think are on there using it and watching to see when a dude who doesn't sound so bad is available and where he is?
I mean, I bet women know. Women know that how women are. You know what I mean? Like, so and there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah, and I guess maybe to put a nice little bow on some of this stuff, I think that and even maybe the previous story with Sydney Sweeney and whatnot. I think that things would be so much better if we could get respect for your fellow man back. Where if women weren't, trying to denigrate all the people that they have dated, and if the men were treating women correctly, or they weren't being jerks.
True.
Encouraging and giving women a reason to then go on an app and denigrate them, or whatnot. So
because you also have enablers who like on both sides, people who are just like, yes, keep going, do what you're doing. Like, yes, this is good. We need to do more of it.
And of course, not all women, right?
Oh, of course not.
Hashtag.
Well, just like not all men. Yeah, exactly. 100%. We are speaking in generals.
All right, yeah, that was
got a lot of I've got a lot of female friends, you guys.
Yeah, that was a nice little. So, yeah, that was a nice little bow to wrap up that topic. So we are going to shift from women being safe online with who they're dating to Online Safety Act in the UK and how the intention behind that, or what they say the intention was behind that, was to protect the kids. Remember, you got to protect the kids online, man. We got to protect those kids because we don't want them watching porn or anything like that. But remember, uh, whenever the government gets a chance to crack open the door, they'll end up usually just kicking it wide open. And I believe that's what we're dealing with in the UK nowadays, because they even are saying explicitly, and I'll be playing this for us, but they're saying the quiet part out loud here when they say we're here. The intention is to protect kids online from what they're seeing, but we're also going to lump in a bunch of other things that we find inconvenient to certain narratives that we're trying to push or certain agendas we're trying to fulfill. So this was a convenient way to backdoor pretty much fascistic state censorship, in my opinion. So I am going to play this for us, and this is a Labour MP on Sky News, pretty much letting it slip that what the actual intention is behind their Online Safety Act.
It's not, I'm sorry, the elite squad is not about children, actually. Shall I read you the thing? An elite squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay,
There we go. Look, sorry, guys.
Oof.
I mean, that pretty much just sums it up for me. I mean, what about you guys?
Well, yeah, I think that the government will always put forward a bill like the Puppies and Kittens Act, where, of course, you love puppies and kittens, right? And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there that's going to be used later on for really bad things. This is something I'm a little bit actually concerned about when it comes to that pendulum swinging back. I'm hoping that this type of stuff, an effort to make things back to how they were, don't become pernicious and become the tools to bring about really bad things on the other side of the pendulum.
Yeah, we don't want the religious moral panic of the 90s to come back.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is that was the same people then. They just swap sides when they need to, like Nancy Pelosi and that whole group, and they were saying the opposite things back then. They were part of the moral panic because that's what got them what they wanted. So they're chameleons, all those folks like that. And look, I don't know how much y'all follow the UK news. I watch the UK and Australia stuff every day. The UK is already in that situation. If you tweet about migrants or trans or whatever, and someone reports it or they find it, they come arrest you. That is already absolutely the case.
Not even just that, but if you just say anything that offends anyone,
they actually have they have a statute for that where
non-crime hate incident.
Right, there is actually one for offense, and there's one that it didn't actually break the law, but somebody didn't like it, and they'll arrest you. And then it's actually that, it's 100% right. It's that bad. Now I don't know if you noticed, but your Twitter post, X post, I saw that Tommy Robinson on there was the name. Tommy Robinson is one of the OG guys trying to defend the UK from years back, and he's one of the few that has sacrificed greatly for that. That dude actually just got out of jail.
Again, he went twice, right?
Did you see what happened to him just yesterday? He was attacked from a rail station, and he defended himself. But even if you defend yourself, he could be thrown back in jail because he's not supposed to commit like any offense or something.
Well, every time the times they've jailed him, it was all BS, and they jail him. They put him in solitary because the vast majority of the population of UK prisons are Muslim.
I wouldn't put it past the person who assaulted him. It was a setup. I wouldn't put it past it.
It could be, yeah. He's been tortured, and I don't know how he keeps going, right? Because that's usually beyond the point where people give up and just say, I just want to be left alone.
And and him, he's been maligned and attacked and slandered because they take what he's said out of context. They say that he's like a racist or something. He's never said anything racist. He's not an Islamophobe because he doesn't have an irrational fear of Islam. His concerns of Islam are grounded and based in reality, and because there's plenty of proof, and it's in the own writings that particular ideology is a little bit on the extreme side.
Well,
the last time go ahead, I'm sorry, man.
There are things happening in the UK where factions are doing some pretty unspeakable things to people, and they're young ones in the UK, and it's been going on for like 40 years or something. It's been going on for a long time.
Well, this is go ahead.
It's just like the police won't really do anything about it. And I had a friend who lived over there, and he was telling me back in like, I don't know, 2017, 18. He's like, trust me, man, you guys don't want what we have going on over here, you know?
Because the government is so nefarious. Because like you said, there's legitimate issues that are going on where kids are being targeted, kids are getting attacked, kids are being abused, and the government, they come out and they disingenuously say, well, we need to protect the kids. Let's figure out how to protect the kids. And they're very smart with how they create their policies and how they word them, because once you see them being implemented and there's legitimate concerns about the actual use of these things, whenever people speak up about it, the government will do the jujitsu and be like, well, I thought, like, so you're against kids being protected? It's like, and they try to do that. They obfuscate what your concern is and paint you as somebody who is pro child abuse, and that is very disgusting.
Some of the things that we suffer from now, that we've kind of put on hold to some degree, the UK has been experiencing for probably 10 years or more. The immigration thing, they went first. So they've, or was it Sweden? The Europe, Western Europe went
Sweden
first.
is reversing. Sweden is actually they're actually cracking down on the migrants. They're actually starting to do deportations. They're
because they're bad. They were bad off. Yeah, they were bad off now. And I think there's a larger. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There were grenade attacks pretty much almost daily happening.
And look at, I think the UK government. I mean, I if you keep up with Starmer, I think he just does what somebody else tells him to do. Right? They just say whatever they got to say. And there's clearly got to be a larger play going on, because every Western country of prominence is getting flooded with immigration. Basically at the same time, even Australia, and that's pretty hard for that to happen in Australia. So I mean, clearly that's not a coincidence. I think the whole idea is to you got to eradicate the freedom cultures before before you bring in the central world government type stuff. But the UK is really, really hurting. I mean, I think London is no longer mostly British people.
Yeah,
like they're a minority now. Yeah,
a minority. I think British people came in a minority around 2020. I think it was a couple of years before or after, but yeah, they're only.
And the mayor is Sadiq Khan. That tells you what you need to know right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's just no excuse for the amount of suffering that's being inflicted on the people, and like, the whole thing is just gross, Well,
Paris is the same way. Paris is like London.
This is actually very concerning, because you're actually starting to see a lot of parallels from what happens there are starting to pop up over here on this side of the pond. Like, for example, you have a lot in the UK. There's a lot of city councils, mayor positions, which are taken up by the newcomers, the minorities, like Sadiq Khan and all, and what have you. You have a Sharia council in Manchester. They're trying to the government is trying to hire and use taxpayer dollars to have Sharia instructors.
I saw that.
And Sharia administrators and stuff like that. It's like, but no, the government is supposed to uphold British common law, not Sharia. So what's happening here? Who's being supplanted? And you're starting to see that being mimicked over here, because you got people like Zoran Mamdani, and you got that other Ethiopian dude in Michigan, or is it Minnesota, who's trying to run for
Oh,
the
is that
mayor.
the weird looking guy?
Yeah, he's trying to run for the mayor of Milwaukee or something.
Yeah, I saw a meme with him. It says, "I am the mayor now." That
Yeah.
was.
And it's what's funny is he kind of looks like that guy.
He does. He does.
And it's not just like the people who are trying to get in positions of power. It's also the rhetoric that's coming out of the police. For example, over in Britain, like whenever there's like an incident or an attack or something, the police will come out and instead of actually condemning the perpetrators for their violent acts, they condemn the reaction to it. And you're starting to see that happening here because I'm sure you guys are all well aware of what happened in Cincinnati, where those white people were getting beat down on the street by that group of black people, and the chief came out yesterday, and she starts chastising the media and social media for pushing this misinformation and this narrative of outrage. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but so we're supposed to just don't trust our lying eyes, I guess, when we were watching the videos.
Yeah.
And she says there's two sides of this. I'm like, okay, where's the other side then? Because there's a woman who is unconscious on the street, like literally, she looked like she was dead.
Oh,
Like,
they turned her off.
Yeah,
they
I
they
saw
popped
that.
her right in the chin. And look, anytime you see a Meemaw police chief, you know what's going on there. New Orleans has
that
one of those.
mentality, that Meemaw mentality seeps down into to the precincts and to all.
Well, it's a DEI thing
Yeah.
in general is how that happens. The UK is full of them.
Yeah, and one of the issues that we're running into here, I think, is that when the new woke religion essentially comes in, and there is a purity test that you have to live up to, you can't do the things that would normally happen over in the UK. You can't speak out against the bad things that are happening to little girls for the last 25 years over there, because you don't want to be called an Islamophobe. You can't speak out against people being it looked like, and I'm getting the image of the woman unconscious on the ground now. So like you're getting a woman sucker punched in the face to the point where she's just out cold. And we can't talk about what was going on, or
they were stomping on their heads.
I know.
And there's more context to that. Like this is something deeper. We need to understand why this all happened. But if the roles were reversed, then the narrative and the assumption is, well, this is racial.
Yeah. Well, and thank God the purity test has gotten to the point where so many people have failed that purity test that they're now on the outside looking in at what's going on and going, well, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you defending them? But the people who are still somewhat in power are the ones making the decision, still thinking the purity test is what they need to do in order to be appealing to the people that are loudest.
Well, that's how it leads to the guillotine, right? Because eventually everybody fails the purity test.
But
precisely.
Here's the thing: when the general population are now the ones being the loudest, for example, in Britain, like they've gotten over 400,000 signatures to repeal this Online Safety Act, and the government is supposed to address this now if it gets over 100,000 signatures. I mean, the people are screaming; they're being very loud, but the government doesn't want.
They don't care. They don't care.
So
the UK's all out of sorts, man. It's sewer slidal empathy, right? Like, if only they put as much effort into protecting their people from very real, very brutal violence as they do protecting them from conflicting views.
And I think that the purity test gave them so much power for so long, they've forgotten how to do things the other way. So they just keep on defaulting back to this and doing exactly what you're saying, Ramble Man.
I saw a video from the UK not too long ago where this not British man was attacking a crowd with a sharp object, right? A British man knocks him down on the ground and is holding him down. The cop runs up and arrests the British guy who was holding him down.
Well, because he's going to be an Islamophobe if he doesn't.
Right. Then the guy who was not British, the guy with the knife, stabs the cop in the neck and kills him.
No, that was in
I
Germany.
saw that.
That was in Germany. Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, that was that
Okay.
that attack in Germany. Yeah. No, you're
similar instance, different country.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, over in Germany, they're having very similar things where they're talking about, oh yes, if you say something online, that could be more illegal, and you could be fined more and be more in jail if you do that. Because if you offend someone in person, the words go away, but online, oh, that's there forever.
Well,
It's the same playbook everywhere.
Germany, they're even more far gone than even the UK is, because Germany, they're serious about literally banning a political party who's actually trying to address the issues that are concerning a lot of Germans. I mean, you don't see the UK government trying to ban reform yet, but who knows?
To me, when I see all that, when I see all that stuff, to me it makes sense, because I already assume that the folks in power doing that are, they're not trying to serve the people at all. They're shooting towards the agenda, probably, given them possibly by someone else. So when they do things like that, it tends to make sense, versus thinking, well, I don't understand why they're doing that, because they're trying to help the people. Why would they do that? Because they're not.
Well, I mean, they're marching to somebody else's tune. And two questions I have: whose tune, whose drumbeat are they marching to? And the second question is, how can we make it more palatable for these governments to start doing the will of the people that are yelling, instead of the will of whoever they are? So I'm just like there needs to be something that the people can do to incentivize the government to make it worth their while to actually do what the people want them to do.
There's only kind of one way for that.
Negative reinforcement, you might say.
Yeah.
Yes. Varying degrees. You start slow.
My local politician or something.
I mean, you ultimately, who I forget who said it. Was it Thomas Sowell? I think it was Thomas Sowell. When the government fears the people, there's freedom. When the people fear the government, there's tyranny, and that's basically all there is to it.
Yeah, and we are now. Yeah, we are in the midst of fearing the government. All right, guys. We are heading up on end time. I know a couple of you guys need to skedaddle, so we will wrap this up here. It was a great conversation, wide-ranging topics from silly to serious, and we will definitely do this again in the future. I hope everybody who was watching, you enjoyed this. This will be, you'll find this, of course, on YouTube or on Rumble, wherever you're watching. And I'll have a shout out. What are you guys up to coming up?
Check me out at twitch.tv/ramblemanTV. Same YouTube everywhere. I'm doing D&D games, tabletop RPGs, and my Instagram and threads are going with memes, and I'm going out and running, and I got pictures of a baby turtle I found today. They're gonna be going up soon.
Nice.
Yeah. Check me out online. Follow me. I'd be glad to see you guys.
Yeah, I don't have anything set up for myself just yet, but definitely check out Ramble Man, because he's
waiting on that camera too. I know you've been waiting on that camera for your
yeah. At some point in time in the future, I will be having a camera, so you'll be able to see my ugly mug. But yeah, we'll see if Amazon can get things in gear and get the stuff over to me. So
that's very kind. Thank you.
And Rich, is anything you want to say before we
I don't. I was gonna actually say go see Ramblin's streams, because I've watched his D&D streams. They're pretty cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, they have fun over there.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure as always. Always great talking to you guys. Yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
Oh yeah,
and I know we got pretty serious and stuff, but it was a good talk.
Yeah. Love. Hey man, that's the thing that we were talking about earlier. It's like the ability for people now to congregate online, talk to each other, develop ideas, like get to consensus on things or disagree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we'll wrap it up here. This has been the Swamp Cleaner. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we will see you later.